Hello, fourth grade readers. I am Mrs. Lamondo, back to bring you our Fontes and Pinnell mini lesson of the day. So let's get started. We're going to kind of shift gears now and start looking at some features of nonfiction. Remember, nonfiction are books that are about real life things. Different than fiction. Fiction is about books that are made up, right? So stories that an author created. So let's get started thinking about some nonfiction text features. This is LA U18 Lesson 1. So today we're going to explore illustrations and graphics in nonfiction books. Let's start by looking and reading this infographic about sodium. What can you learn from this infographic? Is there anything you learned you didn't know? Is there anything surprising? So when we read an infographic, we should be looking at not just the pictures, but all of the words on the page. So this isn't from a nonfiction book, but it is about a nonfiction subject, right? A real life subject, which is about sodium, otherwise known as salt. And some facts for us about salt and kids. So here at the top, I see that this is immediately put out by the American Heart Association and the American Stroke Association. So it's important to know who is giving you the information. Both of these associations are very reputable. They have studies based in fact and research based in fact. So we know it's a source that we can trust. So it says about 90% of kids eat too much sodium. Remember, sodium is salt. Kids' preferences for salty tasting foods can be shaped early in life. Parents and caregivers can help lower sodium by influencing how foods are produced, purchased, prepared, and served. So this is really interesting to me because this shows us down below foods that add the most sodium to the diet for ages 6 to 18. So the number one food, gosh, I know a lot of people love this one. I certainly do. Pizza, filled with sodium, salt. Who knew? Our second one, burritos and tacos, another super salty food. Our third one, surprising maybe, sandwiches. So when we're looking at sandwiches, we're probably looking at sandwiches more with things like lunch meat in it. Number 4, another surprising one, breads and rolls, right? When we're eating breads and rolls, they don't always seem to be overtly salty to us. So surprising that they're high in salt. Number 5, cold cuts and cured meat. So this is where we're talking about lunch meat. We're talking about things like bologna, the meat in Lunchables, those types of things. And number 6, perhaps another surprising one, soup. A lot of sodium in soup. So when we go down to the bottom, on the left-hand side, I see a pie chart. And it says that the sodium kids eat come from every meal and snack. So it looks like kids are getting most of their sodium at lunchtime, about 31%. Followed closely by dinner. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, most of their sodium is coming from dinner at 39%, closely followed by lunch at 31%. About 16% of sodium is coming from snack time and about 14% at breakfast. And then when we go over to the right-hand side of the infographic, it says most of the sodium kids eat is already in the foods they got from the stores. So if you go to Market Basket, about 50% of the foods you purchase there are going to be filled with sodium. Restaurants, about 23% of the foods you purchase from restaurants have the sodium in it. And school cafeterias, who knew? About 10% of our sodium is coming from our school cafeteria and not from the salt shaker. So when we think about getting sodium in our diet, it's not because we're pouring salt on the foods that we eat. It's because the foods we eat already have sodium in it. Wow, that was really surprising to me. I think the thing that was the most surprising to me all around was the fact that there's a lot of sodium in breads and rolls. I didn't know that. Infographics are a great way to learn about something new. So why do you think that authors might include things like the following in nonfiction books? Nonfiction books, even though they are about real life things, can have illustrations, photographs, diagrams, maps, infographics, and charts. When you read a nonfiction book today, see if you can find any of these things. Now, an illustration, of course, would be something that is drawn. A photograph is a real-life picture. A diagram might be something that has parts labeled on it. A map shows us places. Infographics, well, we just saw that. And on our infographic, we also saw a chart. Remember that pie chart that showed how much sodium kids are getting at each meal? So it's really important when you read a nonfiction book, not just to skip over the infographics or the sidebars, but to read them too, because a lot of really important information comes from those sidebars. All right, fourth grade readers, that's all for today. Don't forget, if you have any questions, feel free to check in with your teacher. Until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.